An absolute explosion is imminent in the stock market. I need to take everybody through in this video exactly what's going on here, how to prepare for this so you're ready for what is coming. There's a very important sentiment survey done every single week in the stock market. This survey has been done since the 1980s. It's called the AAII Investor Sentiment, and it's how investors feel about the stock market for the next 6 months. And it tells you all you want to know about the sentiment of the stock market, how people are feeling. We have just seen arguably the most bearish results we've seen in the history of this survey. Last week, 58% of market participants bearish on the stock market the next 6 months. The week before, 59%. The week before, 57%. And the week before, 60+%. Those are numbers that are so insane. I had to pull up historical data to show you guys how ridiculous this was. In 1987, we had the biggest one-day stock market crash in history. It was called Black Monday. It was in 1987, October 1987. And we weren't even remotely close to as bearish. At that time, it was like 33% of participants were bearish on the stock market the next 6 months. If we go back to right prior to the tech bubble busting, essentially, we witnessed unbelievable bearish activity at the end of the 90s, 1999, and into the beginning of the 2000s, where even on one particular week, 75% of participants were bullish on the stock market for the next 6 months. Obviously, the tech bubble went boom, and it wasn't a good boom. It was a downward boom. And even as long as that tech bubble exploded and went down, you never saw a time period even remotely close to as bearish as we have been over the past 4 weeks. If you go back to the great financial crisis, I was able to find one period that was almost as bearish as this particular time, and that was at the January 2008. We saw 55% bearish, 58% bearish, 54% bearish, and 59%. So almost as bearish as this most recent time period. Now take a look at this. This was the bottom of the great financial crisis crash. Look at this. On the February 19th, 2009 week, we had 56, almost 57% of participants were bearish on the stock market the next 6 months. February 26th, 55% bearish. We had a shocking 70% bearish. That was March 5th, 2009. That's a ridiculous number. Imagine 70% of market participants being bearish on the stock market for the next 6 months. And then the week of the 12th of March, 2009, we saw 54% bearish, right? And there was a multi-generational buying opportunity. You never saw those prices again, ever. Or anywhere even remotely close to those prices that you were able to buy stocks March of 2009. Absolute historic multi-generational buying opportunity, right? And that was the bottom of the great financial crisis crash. And where were people at to take advantage of that? And think about it. The stock market went up in a straight line for the next 6 months after that. You had this ridiculous amount of people bearish. Look at this, only 18% of people bullish. And the stock market did nothing but go up for the next 6 months. And actually, it was a great next 15 plus years in the stock market, right? Now, we had another generational buying opportunity for the overall stock market, and that was in March of 2020 into May of 2020, right? And we witnessed some really bearish numbers. Still, think about this. The numbers during that time period of that 2020, like, oh, the economy might close down for the next 3 years, right? The worldwide economy is going to close. Like, oh my gosh. Even at that particular time, we saw 51% bearish, 51% bearish, 52% bearish, 49% bearish, 44% bearish, 42% bearish, 50% bearish, 44% bearish, 52% bearish, and 50% bearish. Still not as bad as the most recent 4 weeks we have just received in the stock market. Isn't that incredible? It's more bearish than it was in 2009. It's more bearish than it was in 2020. And guess what? That was another generational, truly generational buying opportunity for the stock market, right? Then we went through, this was just a few years ago now, 2022. And 2022 was a generational buying opportunity for tech stocks. You witnessed tech stocks get down to prices we had never seen them before or hadn't seen them in a long, long time, and you'll never see them at those prices again. We're talking Meta, $88 a share. We're talking Meta, We're talking nvidia. Nvidia has 10x'd since that particular time, right? We saw Netflix go down to around $185 a share, $175 a share. Shopify, go through the whole list of them, right? So February 28th, 2022, 59% bearish. The next week, 52%. The next week, 49%. March 19th, 2022 week, 50% bearish and 53%. So almost as bearish as we have been recently, but still not that bad. And then we find a rare time period that arguably it's the most bearish as right now. And look at this. September 22nd week, 60% bearish. The next week, 60% bearish. The next week, October 6th, 2022, 54% bearish. The next week, October 13th, 2022, 55% bearish. And the next week, October 20th, 2022, 56% bearish. Oh, does that remind you a lot of the most recent numbers? Remember the most recent numbers, 58% bearish, 59%, 57%, 60%. So we're the only time period you can really find investors being this bearish on the stock market consistently was in that particular time period in 2022, which is right around the time when the stock market bottomed and all those tech stocks bottomed. All those tech stocks that were generational buying opportunities, they all bottomed in October and November of 2022 and then started to head up from there, right? Now, great day in the public count here today. Public count up $122,000. An absolute ridiculous number. People are like, what's going on here? Is this a real bottom? Is this a fake out, right? Or are we about to explode this market to the upside and downside? And so I'm going to take you through all that in detail, okay? Hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoyed that beginning. I just took you through historical data all the way back to the 1980s. Who else is doing that out here? Who else is taking you back to the freaking 1980s, the 1990s, the tech bubble, 2020, 2022, 2008, and showing you the data? Who else is doing that out here, folks, okay? I appreciate y'all for being here. Only one thing and one thing only I ask from you guys, and it's for you to smash that thumbs up button. Let me know in the comment section if you got some love for me out there, okay? I hope you do, because no one else out there is taking you through that sort of data I just took you through in the first few minutes of this video, okay? Appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you for being subscribed. And there's a reason we got the incredible amount of subscribers on this channel is because of stuff like that, okay? Alrighty, guys. So let's get rolling here, okay? Check this out. Look at the moves here today in the public count. Meta stock for me was up $36,000 today. Tesla stock was up $23,000 for me today. AMD was up almost $15,000 for me today. Palantir $11,000, Celsius $8,000, Cheesecake $7,000, right? Amazon $7,000, Revolve $3,000, SoFi $3,000, PayPal $2,000, Elf $2,000. The moves are astonishing, and this just on one risk-on day. Now imagine for a moment. Just imagine if this market explodes to the upside for a few weeks or a few months. Can you imagine the moves in these stocks if this was just off one day? And we're seeing this stock move for me $36,000. And that's just in one portfolio. That's just a public account. 23,000, 2,000. I mean, imagine for a moment if we go risk on for the next few weeks or next few months. Imagine what some of these numbers will show in that sort of environment, which reminds me, AMD, almost green. Yes, AMD. We're only down 2% on that baby now at this point in time. It is almost green. Basically, if the market was even risk on again tomorrow, AMD would be green for us. And see how fast things can switch, folks? Things can fast switch very quickly in regards to the stock market. Now, somebody in my private stock group's Discord chat actually did a poll here very recently. They did it on March 20th. And basically, they asked private stock group members, basically which of these stocks would perform the best over the next 3 to 5 years. Elf, Nike, AMD, Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, SoFi, PayPal, Google, Celsius. And by the way, if you want to let me know in the comments section which of these stocks you think will perform the best over the next 3 to 5 years, I would love to hear from you guys. But 84 people inside the private stock group basically voted on this. I think we have about 1,500 members or so in the private stock group, maybe a little bit more than that. So 84 folks actually voted on it. And AMD ended up coming up the winner, chicken dinner of the bunch. That got 39% of the votes. 33 people voted that AMD will be the best performing of those stocks over the next 3 to 5 years, which, if you want to know which one I voted for, it started with an A and it ended with a D out of that bunch, okay? And I also posted this on the same day. I said, anyone know which stock I voted for? Started with an A, ended with a D. Rest I'm keeping a secret. I said, it would be hilarious if Nike and Google returned the best over the next 3 to 5 years, given they had 0 votes, because Nike had 0 votes at that time and Google had 0 votes as well. Now, complete difference. because I posted something somewhat similar, not exactly the same, but basically on X. I asked folks which stock of the Mag 7 do they think is going to perform the best over the next 3 years. And then I went ahead and responded to my own post here today, and I said, here's my thoughts on the top 3 stocks of the Mag 7 over the next 3 years. And I said the stock I think will perform the best of all the Mag 7s over the next 3 years is Meta stock. The number 2, Amazon, and the number 3, nvidia. That is my belief of those particular stocks. If you said I had to post a number 4, I'd probably say Google McDougal. Okay. Now, it was interesting seeing, obviously, on my X, it gets fed out there, the algorithms, and gets put in front of a ton of different people, right? A lot of people that don't follow me or don't follow me that closely, things like that, right? And it was interesting seeing how many people were like, Tesla's going to perform the best, right? Tesla's going to perform the best. Tesla, right? And, Here's the way I'll put it, right? Tesla, I was a stock I was buying back in 2018, 2019. The shares I still own today, these were shares I bought in the spring of 2019, right? And up 2,000% even after the most recent crash on those. And I've taken so much in profits over the years, it's incredible, right? But here's the thing. 10 years experience, right? When I was buying Tesla stock, I already had 10 years experience. I was not just some new Joe to the market or something like that, right? The issue we have right now in the market in regards to a lot of these Tesla folks, they're new Joes to the market. They just got in the market in the past year, the past few years, and they look at people like myself and they say, Tesla's such an amazing stock. Look at how much money somebody like Jeremy or some others that bought the stock, let's call it prior to 2020, look at how much money they made on that. I want to make that money. Doesn't work like that. When I was buying Tesla stock back then, they had I would argue 4 key points that made me so bullish on Tesla. First one is Tesla back then was an innovation beast company. They were showing off new product after new product after new product after new service. It was incredible. The innovation pipeline at Tesla was unparalleled at that particular time. There was a lot of people referring to Tesla, not a lot of people. There's a very few in the know people that were referring, as in me, they were referring to Tesla back in that time period as Apple back in the Steve Jobs days. We were at that sort of innovation ramp, right? The second component that made Tesla such an amazing buy-in back in 2018, 2019 was sales were booming for the company. And I didn't really see that stopping anytime soon. We should have had sales boom for many years to go in the future, right? The third component was we had a phenomenal brand. Tesla's brand was so cool. It was loved. And a lot of the brand was also around Elon Musk, who was such a beloved figure. No one had really anything bad to say about Elon Musk other than maybe people in the investment and short seller community, which is 0.1% of the population. Anybody that knew anything about Elon Musk had nothing but great things to say about that. Man's a genius. He's a legend. Incredible the things he's doing for humanity, all this stuff, right? And the fourth component I didn't put up here is we had an insanely focused CEO. Elon's focus on Tesla back in those days was nothing short of historic. The man, if he needed to spend time on the in the factory trying to figure out how could we best do this or do that, he was willing to do anything it meant for Tesla to be a success. Incredible focus from the CEO, right from the top, right? Well, think about Tesla today. Are we an innovation beast? No. The last time we showed off a vehicle, right? Outside of Cybercab, and we'll talk about Cybercab in a moment if that vehicle's ever going to come. Listen, the last time we really showed off a vehicle was 2019, which was Cybertruck, right? It's 2025. 2025. Second, our sales suck. Our sales are garbage. Look at the US numbers, look at the European numbers, look at the China numbers. Back when I was investing, we were starting a sales boom cycle. Sales suck now, right? Third thing is, our brand is the worst I've ever seen Tesla's brand by far. And it's not even close. Our brand is incredibly bad. It's gotten so bad that the FBI's had to get involved. The FBI. That's how bad the brand is. I mean, we're talking a historic ruining of the brand, right? We've never seen stuff like this. And then the fourth component, we have a CEO who hasn't cared much at all about Tesla for the last several years, compared to Elon Musk that cared tremendously about this company, factually back in the day, right? So I show you something like this, right? Cybercab, potentially a vehicle that might come out. That vehicle is supposed to come out with no steering wheel and no pedals. You think that's coming out in 2026? Dream on. Dream on. Maybe someday it comes out, 2029, 2030, but we're not launching a vehicle with no steering wheel and no pedals anytime soon. I wish, like that would be cool, but no, not with where we're at right now in regards to self-driving, okay? And so I look at a stock like Tesla, it feels like more of a dead cat bounce than anything in the short term in regards to this one, right? So if you're wondering, what is it going to take for Tesla to really turn around in this stock, not just to be a trading vehicle? Because basically Tesla's just a trading vehicle right now. You want to go risk on, like Tesla pumps in the short term, right? Goes risk off, Tesla sells off 50% and crashes, right? We got to turn around these things. If we can become an innovation beast company again, now we're talking. If our sales can start booming again, now we're talking. If we have a great brand again, now we're talking, right? But we got to turn around those things. And so the thing I'll tell everybody, look outside of Tesla for opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities, and there's stocks that are going to absolutely decimate Tesla's returns over the next 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. And it's not even going to be close. There's so many other opportunities out there. Don't get so focused on this one company, because investors have paid and paid and paid again for that over the last many years. And I really don't see that ending in the short term. Like, you're going to keep paying for this price of just trying to focus in on this one company that people like myself made, millions of dollars on, right? All in Tesla investors have made millions of dollars on this stock. People look at us and they're like, oh my gosh, they made so much. Tesla was just one stock I made a lot of money on. And so don't get just caught up into that, right? I look at a stock like AMD, I think this is the next legendary buy. Because if I look at all the things that made Tesla such a great buy in the spring and the summer of 2019, I see so many of those in AMD. AMD is a company at a low valuation that's kind of been thrown out, stock price hasn't done anything in many years, right? Meanwhile, the company's an innovation beast. You look at the chip cycle they have going on, you look at what they're doing on the software front, the company's innovating very quickly, right? The sales are booming for the company. We've seen a clear turn in the sales now, and sales are starting to boom again for the company, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon for years. Third thing is we have a great brand at AMD, phenomenal brand that's so well respected inside the overall tech community and from all the big tech companies. And we have Lisa Su, an extremely focused CEO. She's not worried about running some other side company named Twitter, named X, right? She's not worried on trying to do Doge and all this government stuff and trying to, make a bunch of people mad that don't like a certain political part. She's not worried about all that. She's worried on AMD, day in and day out. That's where her focus is. And that adds up to great results over time. And so when I look at AMD, I see a lot of the same things that I saw back when I was investing in Tesla many years ago, right? So, and then there's so many other opportunities out there. Elf's a phenomenal opportunity right now. Meta, even though that stock's gone beast, up $800,000 plus in that stock, it's still an opportunity here. SoFi's an opportunity. Revolve's an opportunity. Amazon's an opportunity. Fubo's an opportunity. Celsius an opportunity. Cheesecakes. But you know what the greatest thing about many of these companies are? Right? Many of these companies have very proven CEOs that are extremely focused on those companies day in and day out. And when you got a proven CEO who is focused and wakes up every day that their number one goal is to make their company more successful, their employees more successful, their shareholders more successful, it means for a lot of good results over the next many, many years. When you got somebody that wakes up every day and is focused on a lot of other things and like this company is like their 10th most important thing, it doesn't add up for good results long term. It does not add up for good results long term, right? And so there's a lot of opportunities. And I teach you guys all this in my Become Master Stock Market course, right? In my highest end Patreon tier, you're able to see the stocks I'm buying and selling each week, right? Which gives you insights into exactly what I'm thinking about, where my next best opportunities are in the market, right? And how I build a portfolio. Additionally, you get access to my Become Master Stock Market course, which teaches you exactly all the steps I take and exactly how I do this game so I can find out where the next best buying opportunities are, right? And I'm going to have a one-day sale for you guys, April 1st. It's the April Fools Don't Be a Fool sale, because there's a lot of people that are very fools in the market and they're not getting the gains. They don't have the stocks to show for it that they've made hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars on. And so I'm going to teach you all my insights on that one-day sale. Okay, so if you want access to that tier is usually $125. It's going to be one day only. Pin comment down there, enter in your phone, email, and if you want to get the deal sent over via text message, you can get that on that day. Or you can be a fool in the market, keep throwing money around, and keep wondering why your returns are crap year after year after year because you don't know what you're doing in this game, okay? It's up to you. It's up to you. You want the opportunity for $49 to change your life, or you don't. You do you. But that will be a one-day sale. We'll do that one day, okay? April 1st, once again, for access to that pinned comment down there, okay? And you want to build a beast portfolio that sets you up for years and years to go in the future, right? Public account, been building that portfolio, is nearly $3 million, right? Been building that portfolio now for how many years? Probably almost 8 years, right? 7 or 8 years inside the private stock group, right? And that portfolio gets through everything. Rona, 2022 crash, it doesn't matter. Great financial, put it through whatever. Send the S&P 500 down 50%. It always gets through to the other side, right? And we make it out, we survive the bear markets, and we thrive and absolutely kill it in the bull markets, right? That's what I do, and that's what I teach you guys in this course, right? Even this year in the public count, I've taken over $300,000 of gains this year. Over $300,000 in a bad year for the stock market. In a bad year for the stock market. Over $300,000, right? So once again, pin comment down there. Make sure you guys take advantage of that one-day sale. Take your game up to a higher level than where you're at right now. Or don't. And just, wonder why you don't make any money in this game, right? Alrighty, next up here. So, April 2nd, the big day. Everybody's talking about this on Wall Street. Oh my gosh, April 2nd, Liberation Day. Trump, Liberation Day. It's the big day, right? Now, all of a sudden, we're hearing reports like this. Trump's tariffs on April 2nd will be narrower than previously threatened. Oh boy. So now all of a sudden it's not as scary, right? But here's the deal. All it would take would be Trump to come out and say, you know what? That's complete BS. It's going to be super scary. Like, everybody's getting screwed. Like, we're getting screwed. Like, we're going to absolutely decimate these people. These tariffs are going to, these countries are going to have to pay us back, right? Even though it's not the countries that actually pay in the end, but we're not going to get into that whole subject. So, Trump could easily just change the narrative tomorrow and make it sound super scary, and like all these countries need to do this and do that if they want to not have these crazy tariffs put on. But at the end of the day, like, this is going to be a back and forth, right? Whenever the market thinks something is so scary and they're freaked out about it, by the time you get to that event, many times it's not that scary. And that's where the whole old notion of like buy the rumor, sell the news comes in, right? Or vice versa in a scary situation, right? People are all freaked out about something, market sells off, then that something actually hits, and then the market goes rally mode, and people are like, wait a minute, I thought the thing was supposed to be so scary. Why is the market going risk on? I don't get this. A whole frustrating ordeal, right? Now, here's the deal, okay? Because I looked at this out of CNN today. CNN's, basically kind of making Trump sound like he's a chump. I guess that's the way you could put it, okay? It says, for more than a month, President Donald Trump and the administration have been promoting April 2nd as a kind of tariffs Super Bowl, during which many of the promised import taxes will go into effect. But as he has determined many times before, or demonstrated many times before, Trump once again appears to be offering a lot of hype and little action. So, this is a media, CNN out here talking trash about Trump. Now, what does Trump do about this? Does Trump care that the media is going to, be talking? Because here's the deal. If Trump comes off as not as aggressive in regards to tariffs, all the liberal media publications are going to destroy him. They're all going to say, look at him. Such a wimp. Talks about this, talks about that, talks real tough. But when it's time to fight, he doesn't do a thing, right? That's the way they're going to pitch it. No. On the flip side, Trump can say, I'm going to show them. And he can come in and be super aggressive, right? Which, I don't know if that's going to, that might hurt the stock market a lot, right? Let's just put it that way. If he comes in and does some, pretty epic tariffs because of the inflation worries and what that will do to the consumer. And then all these companies' profits plummeting. Like, it would just be a bad situation. But here's my thing. I don't think Trump is that worried about the mainstream media. And the reason being is his favorability ratings are actually still pretty decent right now. Even despite everything that's been going on recently, like, he's still got pretty favorable ratings based upon any time period you really look at Trump, other than certainly, right before he got in office. So, I think there would be a time period when Trump would be worried about the media, but not with his favorability in one of the better spots it's been in, honestly, in the last decade. So that's kind of my opinion on that. I think he's going to focus more on just doing what he wants to do. Now, that also leads us to this subject around Trump. Trump urges Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. I told you guys, I called this out way before it happened. I said, you watch. Like, Trump's going to be trying to force Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. And it sounds like he's trying to put more and more pressure out there. But here's where the explosion of the upside for the stock market comes, okay? Let's run through a scenario here. Let's say the tariff drama is overblown, right? Everybody got way too freaked out about that. The numbers aren't as bad as people thought, and we make it through. All right. Second, earnings in April and May look fine. Remember, we're about to get back into earnings season again. I know it seems like last earnings season just got over with. Folks, in April, you're already going to start to get the bank earnings again. So we're already about to go into another earnings season, right? And then by the end of April into the first couple weeks of May, big earnings. You're going to have all the big tech companies reporting again, and it's going to be busy. But let's say those companies report, and let's say their revenues are fine, their earnings per share is fine, and none of them are like, oh, our guidance is so bad, we got to, completely change our numbers for this year that we thought. And let's say it's just okay. Okay is what the market will take right now, because the market has been so freaked out, so panicked, so sentiment's been so poor. And as long as earnings are okay, that's fine. That's fine. If earnings are good, that's even better. Third, GSG remains dead, right? Commodity index, you look at GSG over the past year, it's pretty dead. It's up like 2%. So as long as that remains in chill mode, that's good for us. Fourth thing, CPI goes to 2.5 or under. Wouldn't be surprised if we head there. Inflation's looking, not too bad. Let's put it that way. So if CPI goes 2.5 or under, that completely takes the whole worries about inflation off the table, right? Especially if simultaneously you have tariff drama that's overblown. Because remember, people are scared of inflation because CPI has been still kind of in the high twos, and you have the tariff worries. Well, if tariff drama was overblown and then CPI comes in 2.5 or under, boom, explosion of the upside, right? And then third thing is the Fed starts preparing the market over the next couple months for summer rate cuts. Everybody thinks like, oh, the Federal Reserve doesn't, do a rate cut until, or, no one knows about a rate cut until like the Fed, right before the Fed does it. No, the Federal Reserve nowadays really telegraphs their moves. These guys, all these guys at the Fed are doing interview after interview after interview, and they telegraph what they're going to do. They give little like breadcrumbs out there, what they're going to do before they actually do it. So if you have them give a bunch of breadcrumbs that essentially, they're going to lower rates this summer, boom, you get explosion upside. Now, I've been telling you guys this year reminds me a lot of 2018. In 2018, we had two vicious rallies early in the year. Plummets in the market earlier in the year. We had this one where essentially the market went from about 7,500 down to 6,800 on the NASDAQ. Then we had this one where the NASDAQ went from 7,600 down to 6,800 very quickly. From there, we had an incredible rally where the market rallied all the way from 6,800 all the way to 8,100 for the NASDAQ, right? Then we had some softness, and then in the fall time, we had an absolute brutal move in the market where the NASDAQ went from 8,100 down to 6,200. Is that possible how this year plays out? Potentially. But I am seeing definitely a lot of similarities in 2018 where everybody's getting all freaked out about this, thinking like crash, 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 buy puts. And I wouldn't be surprised if, people look back and get absolutely wrecked in regards to that whole situation. They're like, oh crap, we got way too bearish, way too quickly here. And sometimes this stuff all takes out. And so focus on the long term here, folks. Focus on the long term. In fall of 2024, I bought my first ever super expensive car, right? Ferrari. I could have bought that so many years ago, but I waited and I was patient, right? And I focused on the long term, right? In May of 2020, I purchased my first super nice house. Right before that, I just had homes, but I never had a super nice house. In May 2020, I purchased my first super nice house. Right, I was patient on it. Patience comes in very key in this game. Right, and focusing long term. Don't get caught up in all the short term crap that's going on because there's always a lot of that, okay? Appreciate y'all joining me as always. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this video here today. Pin comment down there if you're looking to access that one-day sale we're going to have on April 1st. That is a one-day sale, and it's going to be huge, man. And so make sure you get that. Take your game up to a much higher level than where you're at. That's for Become Master Stock Market course access. These stocks I'm buying and selling each week in the Patreon portfolio, plus you get that Discord chat access as well. Much love and have a great day.